Calxiyn and Hunter here. If you guys enjoy this video, you guys should be patrons over on Patreon, but you should subscribe. So today we are doing an analysis of episode 12, and we are almost done, which is pretty
How are they getting this shot?
What do you mean?
Is there a cameraman hanging out behind Cordovan?
I don't know.
Is it just
we
like
don't need to talk
not?
about
Is
that.
it like? Does it also have
Maybe
like
it's a drone or something?
detachable
you know what I mean?
like drone cameraman?
Maybe it's a drone.
To like see what's around it? Like that would make sense.
But yeah,
in a
so
practical
the episode
sense.
starts. Oh, so Hunter was able to write some notes for me that are actually legible. Thanks.
And I don't even have very good penmanship.
You guys should see my handwriting. Get that piece of paper right there. I think that's mine. Okay.
That's actually not too bad
That's
for
not
yours.
bad. No.
Like
We
I've
need something
seen.
else.
No, that's also not. That's mostly legible. I don't know. All the good Okay, yeah, that one's not less legible.
Okay. Let me.
That one's more on like the typical scale of your writing.
So this is my writing. Okay. And this is Hunter's writing. And Hunter's writing is still a little messy, but at the same time, like, I can't read my own school notes, so that's okay. So yeah, they are just not paying attention. Like, they're like rooting for her. Like the little subordinate soldiers they are. They're like, yeah, boss, kick their ass. Like,
well, you know,
I feel that, but
they don't know any better.
I guess. But you can see here that the Grimm is
Not
coming
paying
on
attention,
the screen.
And that Grimm's a swimming boy. They also pan out. They also look like they have like those two circles. Like I don't like that. Like
I think
is
that's
the inner
like
circle. This
Ar
is the outer
probably
circle.
Argus, right? Because that's the military base.
Yeah.
Right, and so you can see that this is Argus,
Yeah.
not because I originally thought, oh, the Grimm is gonna come to where they are, but no, they have to go save the town. And so a lot of people were predicting that, including us, we said this too, that the big final fight was gonna be a Grimm attacking the city. But I was sort of hesitant because I was like, are they going to have enough time for that? Like with the Adam stuff and with the Cordovan stuff, are they going to have time for the final to fight this giant Grimm? Like, are they just going to have time for that? So a lot of people brought it up and I was like, I'm still on the fence about sort of that theory. But then last episode when we saw the Grimm out of the water was like, okay, like a Grimm is coming. Or not last episode, RWBY Rewind, I should say. And when we did that video. So good job to you guys that actually like believed like in that theory 100%. Because like I said, I was a little on the fence about like time. If that makes sense, but it seemed like this finale is going to be lengthy. If that makes sense. But yeah, so cookies to everybody that like stuck with that. I'll give us a 0.5 on that, but there are some other things we predicted that are happening in this episode, so it's okay. Yeah, so RWBY just yeah, so she just does that. RWBY fighting Big Boy. Thanks, Hunter.
Fighting that big boy.
And so basically, Oscar sort of has this idea like, hey, so this one pops in, but the missiles pop out. So what you should do is hit the missiles. And so look at Ren right there, okay?
Look at that
we just talk
smiling
about
Ren boy.
like how Ren is like
He's so
such
happy.
a bro to Jean, like helping him up and like I don't know, they're just I like this ship as like a three-way ship.
I want
whatever
someone
reason.
to look at me the way Ren is looking at John.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Doesn't everyone?
Ren and Nora, I feel, are just John's parents. Like at this point, no, but
Adopted
seriously,
Really?
because like, oh, do you want like some coffee, honey? We're gonna go get some coffee to make you feel better. And like, John, we love you. We would never want you to sacrifice. Just for the earlier episodes, like I just feel like it's all, you know, you know what I mean. Anyway. So RWBY just gets in and Crow's like, wait, RWBY, no, stop. Like, he's just like, RWBY, no, but he doesn't put some force into it. He's just like, you know what I mean? But yeah, she gets on the plane because she is going to try to shoot up the thing. Meanwhile, the base is trying to call, and it seems like, oh, so you can see the core too. You can see energy, integrity, integrity. But it seems like everything's pretty much okay, which is kind of like, oh, alright.
Well, the head is where they were shooting the boat.
Yeah, the head, it seems like the energy's down a little bit.
And the integrity is kind of lower. That's
lower than, say, the core, right? So it's kind of interesting that that's just a very small detail, but it sort of shows, okay, like, you know how aura is sort of an indicator of how dead someone is? Or not how dead, but how susceptible they are for attacks. Like, this is sort of showing the robot's aura, even though it has them. So Cordovan is just like, Like, you really had to do this, Maria. Like, you really had to make it between everybody, or whatever. But Maria's just like, this plan, like, the plan works better if it's direct. And Oscar's just like, the fuck? I really like Oscar's characterization this episode because he is very much like, we're gonna die. And then he's like, crap. Like, he says that later. But yeah, so RWBY goes in for it.
You see
and
the bullet sail through the air.
Like, you see it bounce off 3 times just to make sure that the audience
they
knows.
cut 3 times, like, in case you didn't realize it.
Like, yikes.
I also love how that's like a supersonic
I like how
bullet.
she misses,
like, that thing was able to be like, nope, and, like, retreat so quickly.
You know what I mean? Like, I like how it misses because if it hit the first time, I would have been like, okay, that's kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? And then later, like, when RWBY does her speech, I was like, if Cordovan stops because of RWBY's little speech there, that's some bullshit. But they didn't. Like, it didn't work both times. And so she had to do something really drastic. So the plane gets shot with the electrical stuff, and it just flies Maria's eyes.
I've dropped
that's like
my glasses.
A part of her, right?
Yeah,
like, those must be
lost
connected to her nerves. Like, you're basically
Yeah,
electrocuting her. You know what I'm saying? And so
Her
Oscar's like, Jesus, take the wheel. And like in his face, he's just like, what? Oh, but yeah, so he has to make sure that we don't die. And then they get electrified too. Like, on the coast, she does this like swoop move that I didn't catch for whatever reason. And you see Crow and Weiss are worried, and so Crow just fucking jumps and turns into a bird to go fly over there. But then, like, Cordovan's just like, you thought you could trick me! And then she says something. She says, like, even the smartest apes couldn't, like, go against an intellectual human. And I wonder, like, I know that's a phrase, like, in our real world, like, it's a real world phrase. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, is this, like, a racist faunist
I don't think
too?
it's I think she's just, like, an Atlas supremacist, really.
I know that, but, like, there are probably actual ape faunists, though, right? So is
I mean, their son, he's a monkey.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Is it, you know what I mean? Like, isn't
Well, it's
that...
also implied, that kind of, like, because that's, like, an evolutionary thing in humans.
But humans
like,
you were made like, with magic.
Yeah, so you're, like, there's no evolution in RWBY.
No,
so
there's
like,
not.
It's probably more like
So I'm wondering if it's a faunist thing, yeah.
Well, like, hey, monkeys still kind of look like people.
Well, I mean, that's because we came from monkeys.
More or less.
Thank you for your insight.
We share a recent common ancestor. But no, it's like, but yeah, I suppose it means different things.
I wonder. I don't know.
But yeah, I like it that she's like this like weird Atlas supremacist that's like, you are not true, powerful men. You ever seen Ironwood? There's a fan art that I love that's like young Maria and then Cordovan and then Cordovan. And Cordovan's like,
saw that.
Who's that? It's like, his name's Ironwood. I'm like, aw.
You also see Maria's eyes are just fucking right here. She's trying to put it back together. At least she knows how, though. That's kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to.
It pans to the relic, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why.
Because when I saw that, I was like, is she going to do something with the relic? Is she going to be like, knock, knock, knock?
And just have Jin pop out, freak her out. But Crow grabs her, and then RWBY just gives him this look, and she's like, trust me, okay? And he has this look on his eyes, sort of like, I don't know, that's sort of like, I've seen this look before, like how that's reading to me, because he looks at her like with surprise, and then he sort of narrows his eyes and looks away like he's remembering something almost. And I feel like that's probably a very summer thing that she has on her face, you know what I mean? A very summer expression, you know? Anyway, she talks to the giant, she talks to the robot, and this is where in the reaction I'm like, Hunter, if this works, I'm literally like, all the good writing has gone out the window. Like, I'm gonna lose all of the praise that I had for this volume.
I believe I wrote down she's gonna sass the big boy. Yeah. You sass that robot, RWBY.
Yeah, but she's using it as a ploy, so that's kind of interesting.
Or no, she's like, one last chance. Don't be a dick.
Well,
we're on the same
I thought
side.
that she was just doing that to almost distract her, like to make her think that. I mean, she could be doing it for both reasons. Like, she actually believes what she's saying.
I thought a big, like, Grimm tentacle was going to come out of nowhere and slap Cordovan.
Because she says we're on the same side, which is, I guess, almost foreshadowing to Argus going down because they're all going to help, I'm assuming, right? And so RWBY kind of explains like, hey, we're on the same side, and there's a remix of like Rising Like the Moon in here, but I was just like, if this works, I'm literally going to, but you kind of see she is considering it, like she has this look on her face because RWBY says that Cordovan hasn't been using her power to protect people, she's been using it to bully people, you know what I mean? And so that's a sort of interesting line. I just love her face here. I don't know.
RWBY has a lot of those, like, then perish face.
Yeah.
Like, it's being used a lot, and I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's a serious muffin.
But yeah, I just really sort of like her Independence Day.
Well, that's for later.
Okay. Anyway, so I just really sort of like her speech here, because they both give, like, Blake and Yang give Adam one last chance, and RWBY gives Cordovan one last chance. But at the same time, I feel like RWBY's little speech was almost, I don't want to say a trick, like tricking the audience, but a lot of people have been like, wow, RWBY's like speeches just seem to fix everything, and then this time it was sort of used as a ploy or like almost subverted expectation. And so meanwhile they're like, fuck you, like what, RWBY?
She's gonna die.
So she turns into her speed semblance, I guess.
Yes.
And everybody's just like, what the fuck? Even Cordovan just like,
where did she go?
Like, where is she? What is she doing? And Nora falls because she's like, she's crazy, and she is.
You know when Nora's like, you're insane,
I
you're
know.
insane.
And so Jean is sort of saying like, oh yeah, it pops out, but all the dust is inside. So basically what she does is she goes in there, she shoots it, and then she
that's
flips
Independence Day, because in the movie Independence Day, they shoot at the alien's big laser that destroys the White House, and that's what she's doing. She like goes in for the perfect shot.
Movie,
it's a classic of American cinema. Mm-hmm. It's like, it goes like Gone with the Wind, Mockingbird, Citizen Kane, Independence Day.
But yeah,
so she Independence Day, she shoots, it blows up, you then got I think I wrote a chonky arm or something.
Chonky ice hand.
RWBY really jumped the gun on this one, because she jumped in the gun.
Anyways, so RWBY starts falling out, and you actually see, first of all, her aura's broken, but then you also see, did I not get a good shot of it?
Well, I mean, maybe because it was only like in odd frames.
Yeah, it was only in it was
pretty
sparingly, but you can see Weiss's black gifs.
Glyphs pop up. Gifs, just gifs of what black gifs.
Her glyphs, rescuing her. Yeah, maybe I just didn't catch it because it was very
it seemed like every other frame.
I tried to get it, but.
But yeah, she stopped down by.
You can even see Weiss tired now because she did it.
And part of me was like, why did you slump over? What did you do?
And then I told her, no,
did you jump in someone's gun?
You can see.
Is she just tuckered out?
Yeah, because that's.
Tuckered out.
I mean, that's
I've had to deal
stressful to have to catch
with
her like
Maria
that.
Calavera.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so Weiss saved RWBY, and Crow just like, and she's just like, I told you. So meanwhile, the plane seems to be working. I don't think I got a picture of it, but it seems
just hovers out of nowhere. For a second I thought because someone hijacked it, but it looks like everyone's gonna jump.
No.
Oh my god, it's Neo like, what's up, bitch?
Meanwhile,
they're holding hands. They're still holding hands.
So they're still holding hands. So Blake basically explains why she's just not gonna die, which is like,
Mood. Feel
okay.
You ain't gonna die.
Yeah. And they're still. It makes sure to show a shot of them holding hands.
Yeah.
Can I just say, okay, we've done a lot of Bumblebee videos lately. I feel like we gotta do like one more.
Probably.
One more. Okay. Like, things seem canon to me, just judging by things that were said in this episode, and we're gonna go over that quick. So Adam's just like, she made a promise to me once or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's so sad. And
no,
then
it's
Hunter
not.
was like,
you fucking
Hunter
idiot.
said that in the reaction. But here's the thing, you can have empathy for someone and the things that they say, like, in a moment. I'm not
empathetic. I appreciate that this dude is levels of fucked up that I cannot even
But you understand what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, that's sad that he thinks that, like, Blake, like, abandoned him. But at the same time, it's like...
He's a fucked up dude.
Yeah, well, that's the point, right?
She abandoned you for a very good reason.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I think.
She didn't abandon you. She ran away from you.
Well, that's why I was like, oh, that's so sad. But
Which
then
is
at the same time, you have to remember...
The great line that comes up next.
I mean, we'll talk about that, but people are like, well, it's Blake's fault. She should have considered Adam's feelings, and I'm just like,
no, she
shouldn't. Fuck y'all.
No, you shouldn't.
Fuck y'all. And people are like, well, if we didn't see Adam abuse her, it didn't happen. And I'm just like,
it's heavily implied.
I mean, Miles and Carrie confirmed it, but you know, whatever. It's
They
alright.
probably weren't comfortable with showing that on a children's show, which this is still technically more or less a children's show.
Well, I mean, there's some scenes in here where I'm like, yikes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, before though, because the time to show it would have been earlier in RWBY, right?
Yeah.
And they weren't comfortable then, but then they
'Cause it
changed
was-
it
it
from
was-
a children's show after that.
Because watching, like, rewatching some of the RWBY, they really,
they really went there, you know what I mean? And so at the beginning, it would have made sense to sort of talk about how Adam had been towards, like, and she does mention that, like, Yang's behavior when she hits Mercury reminds her of, like, all the bad things that Adam turned into, so it's like, there are hints of it there, but yeah, if y'all are like, well, Blake abandoned him and it's all her fault that he turned abusive, y'all can go fuck yourselves with the chainsaw, okay? Because I don't want to hear that in my comments, and I'm gonna delete you and block you.
You also
Because
have
I
to
don't
appreciate
appreciate
that, like, that's not how anything works.
No, it's not, but yeah, I've gotten a few comments like that, and I replied to one, just to try and correct them, but they weren't worth reasoning with, so like, I'm just gonna delete y'all, because y'all are fucking stupid. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? It's never the person who was abused fault that, like, she hurt the feelings of the abuser. Like, the whole thing is, like, you know what I mean?
And also, she hurt her feeling by leaving a terrorist. Like, if your boyfriend was like, well, I'm joining Al-Qaeda, you're like, you know what I'm gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Leave my boyfriend!
Like, obviously for Adam, in his head, he's been abandoned by everybody.
Yeah,
and, like,
but his
hurt by
head-
everybody. But his
head is significantly fucked
how
up.
he treats everyone doesn't reflect wanting to keep people in his life, if that makes sense. Like, if he wanted to keep Blake in his life, he should have treated her with respect and all that stuff, and shouldn't have been abusive towards her, right? You understand what I'm saying? And so, like, in his head, I guess, because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong, but we definitely think he's done a couple things wrong. You know what I mean, Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, people are stupid. That's not what we're talking about. I think that Yang says something here. She said something like, to you or who you were pretending to be.
Did she lie? You lied to me. You said you were always going to be next to me.
Yeah, did she make that promise to you or who you were pretending to be? And I think that's a really telling line,
Which
right?
is a great rebuttal to people
exactly,
being like...
because Blake made that promise to the person that she thought, because she says, at first I thought he was justice, then he was passion, because they, got together. And so she thought that he was a good person, and maybe at the beginning he was, but he just got worse and worse and worse over time. You know what I mean? And so she made that promise to the good person that she fell in love with. Maybe when Adam was more aligned with the Sienna side of things, and then turned over to the extreme.
Maybe even like the Gira side of things.
Yeah, I mean, he never started, like we see in the Adam trailer, like he didn't start out like a murderous lunatic. Yeah, exactly. And so it's sort of like she made that promise to that Adam, but that Adam is not this Adam.
Because Adam has like severe traumatizing issues. He was probably very isolated, and then something like the White Fang that slowly was becoming militant comes in and says, hey, you can join us, and that's more or less how he fell down that very terrible trap, which is a trap that happens to many actual people.
And we've talked about this in other videos, but Sienna sort of fanned the flame, right? Like, she wanted to make him more extreme to fit her side. Because if Sienna and Gira were sort of fighting over for control, and Sienna won in the end, she wanted Adam on her side, right? Not Gira's side. And so, like, we talked about this before, but Sienna helped to create the monster that Adam had become, but I think that we have to remember is that he is a monster. You know what I mean? Like, if he was a different character and he said that to Blake, I would be like, oh, you know what? Like, maybe they have a point. But, no.
A drastically different
character.
When Yang says, you left me, I'm like, well, Yang is still a good person.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking of. If Yang
didn't
was hurt
do
by
anything
Blake,
terrible and was not being, a terrible person towards Blake.
And that's the comparison they're trying to make. Like, that's the contrast that they're trying to make, in my opinion, is that Yang says, how could she, like, just sort of leave me like that? And Yang has, like, a right reason to be angry, right? And so I'm saying, if Adam was like Yang, then I would be like, oh, well, Blake shouldn't have done that. But he's not, right? That's the whole point. He's supposed to contrast towards Yang, right? Like, he's supposed to serve as that sort of contrast where this is how Yang handled things, and this is how Yang treats Blake, to where, like, Adam treats Blake, especially if they're foils in terms of romantic interest. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I feel like we've made our point by now, so we can.
And so
keep
has
moving
the
forward.
show, RWBY.
And so has the show. So that's the most important part, right? Is that, and I do think that you can still have empathy for someone in their situation.
Relativistic empathy.
Yeah. Like I feel bad that Adam went through what he went through, but that doesn't mean I feel bad for the person that he is now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the experiences he had, but not for him, because he's
because if he had a different life, he would have been a drastically different person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But even as the same person, maybe he could have chose a different path, but he didn't, and that was his choice.
There's also there's a, I think, sort of one next he says, like, I guess I'm not good enough for you anymore, which, no, you're not. First off,
you never...
You're not. And it's also, like, implying that, like, oh, Blake's with Yang now, which could hint at Bumblebee.
Because that line is inherently, like, a lot of people are like, no, that's not what Adam means. He means it as... partners, I'm not good enough as a friend. Now, this line, when people use it in other media, is inherently romantic. I guess I'm not good enough for you. Like, when people say that, it's referring to romantic partners most of the time.
I guess it could also be a up-to-date.
Oh, no.
Oh, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hold on. We may need to look and see. Yeah, so Hunter, no. Let's fix that.
There we go. Anyway.
I don't think it's right. Hold on.
Right.
No.
So we're just
this is not how it was. I mean, I think this is kind of funny. No, this isn't right.
I think like it was how it was before. You're getting your face in, but as they can see, they only have my mouth.
Okay.
That's better. Anyways, where were we at?
Wow.
Where were we at?
Hold on. But basically you were saying that, oh yeah, so this is an inherently, like, romantic sort of line, I think. I mean, am I not good enough for you? Like, that is okay, there we go. That is a romantic thing that...
Yeah, most of the time. I don't think it's inherently romantic.
I mean, it depends on the situation.
I think, then it's no longer inherent. Situationally, I think
if Tai Yang said to Yang,
because
am I not good enough for you? That she goes over to Raven. That's sort of about a parental relationship.
I think,
right?
But it's like in context, and later Adam's just like, I don't even know what she sees in you, which is really romantic.
Yeah, like that's not a friendship.
Taken
thing.
as a whole, it seems to be more like romance.
I disagree with like as a standalone line. I think it's enough. I understand what you're saying. Putting it in context is even more evidence, but I think just as a standalone line, that's enough.
But then they stop talking, and then they start fighting.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But just sort of for me, like, if I had to think about that, like, I'm not good enough for you. Like, I guess I'm not good enough for you anymore. Like, I don't... What sort of friendship way could you put that?
Mean Girls?
Mean Girls? What do you mean?
Where, like,
Wasn't Janice a lesbian, though? So isn't that kind of, like...
Was Janice a lesbian, or I haven't seen it.
In the Mean Girls musical, I'm pretty sure she's an actual lesbian, and there's some undertones of her having a crush on...
Well, Katie. I'm talking about I'm talking about scripture. I'm talking about the movie.
I'm not... I think that the musical is taken from the movie in a sense that, like, it could go either way. Like, you can interpret it how you would like to.
Anyways,
right?
but I've seen a lot of, like, friendship narratives. I've been like, well, I guess you can just have your new friends.
Well, I mean, there's a difference.
But in the context of
being like, I guess I'm not good enough because you're hanging out with the popular girls. Like, is that what Adam's saying though?
Yeah, because RWBY's the popular girls.
Like, I guess.
I know. I'm not saying in this context.
I know. I'm just trying to like.
As a line.
To pretend that you are saying that. Like, if I were to play devil's advocate.
Well, no, but I'm not, because, like, the line said in this show.
Yeah, yes, I understand that, but I'm saying that, like,
no.
Imagine if Adam was just like, well, I guess you have a more popular team.
Don't use the word innately or inherently, because that's not what the word means.
But
anyways.
But I still think that, I think inherently, what you're saying doesn't work, because I've never watched even, like, a friend, like, I don't know what the trope is, but girl, like, abandons her friends for the popular girls, where, like, the female character has been, I guess I'm not good enough for you anymore. Like, nobody says it like that, or at least I haven't seen them say it like that. I've seen that sort of sentiment expressed in other dialogue, but I think that it's important to remember that certain phrases have certain associations with us in our culture. And so something later that he says, Like, what does she even see in you? That's inherently, like, that's another one that's inherently romantic. Like, that's something that in movies I feel like only is said when it has to do with a romantic interest, or at least that's what we as a society may associate with a line like that, because of how much we've seen it in
I feel like there's more gray area.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you, but I still feel like there's more gray area.
I know.
Anyways,
I'm not saying that there's no... Hold on.
Next, they fight, because we've already talked about this line way too long. I'm not saying
that there's no gray area at all. I'm just saying that the most popular things sort of dictate how a quote is used, like, moving forward. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but I feel like
because then it's in the public consciousness.
Anyways, moving forward, they start fighting.
Well, what if I'm not done, Hunter? What if I want to talk about the semantics of this line
for
another, like, 10
I don't know
minutes?
if people want to listen to you talking about the semantics of this line.
They know, like, they can see us on screen. They know what we're looking at, but whatever. So anyway, they basically just start fighting, but Blake is like, it's, like, so much more than that. And so he says, like, you've clearly made your choice, and I've made mine. And so then they
start to
I like how Blake's ears curve in, though, when she's angry. Like, I appreciate that.
That
they do this interesting split thing right there.
They haven't done that since, like, Volume 2. It's a lot of jumping around and hitting.
Yeah, so I just took some screenshots.
It was very acrobatic. It was a very interesting
fight. It was aerodynamic.
They acrobatic. Get the dicks out of your ears. They kick his ass too. Like
I know, but I'm saying that for myself.
Look at his eyes roll back in his head.
Mood.
Good lord. Oh, look at that warrior pose. You really take the greatest screenshots.
I know. But yeah, they just they kick his ass. He is holding his own, though, for...
No, he is.
The most part. But Blake grabs this, so they can...
They do the bumblebee thing that they haven't done since, like,
I don't know what she's trying to do here, though. Like, what was she trying to do if Yang didn't grab it? Or did she expect that Yang would grab it?
I guess he just wants him throw it at his face, I guess. Maybe wrap it around his sword and pull it away.
Maybe. I'm just like, I don't know how she'd do that. Maybe she knew that Yang would grab it, and so they could do, the
bumblebee, which maybe isn't the type of bumblebee people wanted from this episode, but close
enough. We got some of that other bumblebee.
We got some of the other
we got Bumblebee the bike, we got Bumblebee the team attack, and then we have Bumblebee the ship, which I
guess next episode will be Bumblebee the ship.
I mean, the end of this episode had some too, but yeah, so... Yeah.
Oh, certainly, but...
Adam yeets Blake off the cliff.
He really does yeet. Also, wait, go back to that shot. Oh my god, it really does look like he free-throwed her in basketball while arcing his back, jumping backward.
Can somebody make a picture putting a basketball in
That should be a meme.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna find a transparent basketball image and Photoshop it after we're done. So yeah, he eats her off the cliff and she breaks her aura and falls. And this is when I start to get worried about Blake.
And you briefly see the belly
look at
booty?
That ass. I know.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, to anybody that's like, Adam didn't hold his own in the fight, he just got whooped. Like,
no, he did.
Blake just like fucking fell almost like 30 feet.
He held his own.
I think he did, yeah.
Well, he was getting double teamed.
And like, the fight was short, but I think that we have to remember is that the fights have had breaks in between them to go back to the other. Like, when you put the fight together, which somebody will do and upload on YouTube, it's going to kind of show the length of this conflict, because a lot of people were like, well, this was too fast, this wasn't too long, and so I think that people have like short-term memory, almost like episode by episode. When people watch RWBY on the DVDs, they don't, like, it's not a weekly episode thing, you know what I mean? Like, they watch it all together like a movie, I would say. It's like, with you and your girlfriend, have you guys been did you guys start Volume 3 and finish Volume 3, like, in the same night?
Probably
like more or less.
2 or 3 sittings.
2 and 3 sittings.
2 or 3 sittings.
So you guys didn't.
We watched a lot of it. We watched like the lion's share of it, like the big dramatic parts of it last night, and then we got significantly.
But you separated into chunks that made sense,
more or less,
right?
And we watched all of Volume 4 from the beginning up until like the Crow Tyrion fight, or when Crow shows up.
Well, see, that's a good place to stop. So what I kind of meant was like, when somebody's gonna watch this in the future, they're gonna binge it, and so it's gonna make a lot more sense, like, connected.
I still think it makes sense.
Even unconnected, it still makes sense. But I feel like people just don't remember that for the past 3 weeks we've had this fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so if a lot of people are like, well, the fight was too short, it's sort of like, no. Like, this has been at least a 20-minute fight if you splice it together correctly. Like, more or less.
It branches over 3 episodes. And it has certainly really interesting moments.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like, well, they ruined Adam and his character. He could have been such a badass. And
They
he
made
wasn't.
him better.
I feel like this was fine.
I feel like people just want...
Things that they
just want him to be like a scary badass and not be interesting. Because to a certain extent, the scary badass isn't terribly interesting.
I mean, a lot of people think that him being, like, the, like, yandere ex-boyfriend also isn't interesting, but I think that just to call him
he is the abusive, like,
yeah,
yandere.
I mean, he is. But there's also sort of more to his character going on, and I think people cherry pick with what they want to remember and what they don't.
Or what, like, they just want, I don't know, man, part of me just seems like there's some people that just want the big scary villain.
I feel like the thing, too, is I think the Black trailer created a problem accidentally, because they showed Adam and everybody thought he was going to be this cool, mysterious badass, and people wanted to know more about him, and that sort of lasted over 3 volumes. And then the next time they showed him, he just sort of yeeted Yang, which should have happened, right? Because Yang went in unprepared. But people built their expectations way too high when that happened because they didn't realize that Adam
rewatching Volume 3
got her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rewatching Volume 3, that encounter between Blake and Adam and Yang is pretty intense.
Like, but the thing is with that, like, Adam, I guess ambushed them. Like, Yang and Blake didn't necessarily expect what was going to happen, right? And so there's a big difference between your opponent catching you off guard and being able to cut your arm off to an actual fight. And so I think that what people aren't realizing, exactly, and there's also that too. Like, I feel like that's what people aren't realizing. Like, Adam has sort of, he hasn't gotten weaker, people have gotten stronger, and then the only times we saw him was when he had, let's say it's an unfair advantage, right? Even though it was sort of like, you know, it was Yang running in head first, and that's like the entire thing for Volume 4. But like, I understand why people are saying what they're saying, but I think that, kind of like we were saying earlier, with some things there's just a wider context. And I feel like that if you strung Adam's story all together, it would flow a lot more smoothly. And I think in Volume 5 they did make some mistakes with him, but overall, like, I think that what's happening makes sense. You know, he's not getting totally whipped by them. They've been fighting for, like, the past, like, you know, like, maybe an hour, like, in Showtime, right? Not for us, but for
And you
for
see,
them.
like, he's like, you know, certain
And he did best Blake a couple times,
He's
right?
distressed. He's kind of fucked up.
He cuts Blake's, like, ribbon off, and they both, like, basically fall on the ground, and then they're
like,
fighting
by
the
the end of
waterfall
it,
again.
By the end of it, their aura has broken. Like, they were getting they were all getting their ass kicked.
Like, Blake gets yeeted off the cliff. Like, if Yang wasn't there, she would probably be dead.
Yeah, more or less.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like that people are like, well, like, it wasn't a fight. Like, they just, like, beat him. Like, I feel like that's a shallow way to look at it, but that's just me. You know, because I think there's other ways too. So Adam says here, like, do you think you're faster than you were at Beacon? And that, like, gets her, right? And so he sort of sees that, and he seems to like that, right? Like, because he has this expression first, like, he's almost shocked that her hand is shaking, and I feel like
he was weaponizing her PTSD.
Well, yeah,
like, he's trying to, like, intimidate her, which I thought was, distressing.
At first I thought, when you see this look, I wonder if for a split second Adam felt bad. Like, for, like, a second.
I feel like he's seeing his opportunities, like, oh, maybe. I can do this.
But he just seems, he looks more sympathetic here than he does right there, you know what I mean? And so, I wonder, like, for his characterization, if when in that moment he's sort of remembering his own trauma. Like, because Adam probably has PTSD too, right?
Maybe.
It would be interesting if in that moment that's why he used it against Yang, because he knows that he has sort of the same thing.
Maybe he recognized it in her just as he has had it in the past, but I feel like it's more predatorial than that.
I know that, but I'm saying that, like, there must be some part of Adam that is still sort of that child part of Adam that would feel bad.
It's a cycle of abuse, but...
Yeah. And so...
I don't think he feels bad. I think he's like, oh,
I don't think he feels bad overall. I'm just saying for the split second, I think he feels something that's not...
I think he identifies
psychopath!
I feel like he identifies it. Not so much. He's surprised.
I think it would be interesting, though, if, like, in Adam's sort of mind, he sort of, you know, sees those flashes to his childhood, and he sort of remembers that, and seeing Yang shaking sort of reminds him of his more, probably a good child self. But then that, like, that's more of a subconscious feeling, but the current feeling in him that overrides that is that he's a psychopath.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That he's seeing it as an opportunity to weaponize, like you said, the PTSD and having a go at her, like, making his own opportunity to go at her. I don't know. Like, I guess that could just be surprise, but, like, I wish that there was something deeper going on there, I guess. Because it would be interesting if there were moments where, like, I don't know. I just believe that even if somebody turns bad, there must be a good part of them in there somewhere, because they were good once. Like, they were good either as a child, and they still have that sort of memory of that. But it seems like for Adam, the sort of newer experience has overridden and took that sort of, like, it's a more aggressive part of his personality, and whatever was good in him is literally dormant. You know? But we're probably not going to explore that, because he's dead. I don't know. I saw this expression, and I'm like, he actually looks like he feels bad for, a split second before he's like, like, I got you, you know what I mean? Which is creepy.
When we were watching RWBY with my girlfriend, she was like, did you really do, like, hours of videos just on these, like, random episodes? I'm like, how? I'm like, well...
Well, not Volume 3.
Volume 4. Volume 4. Because we were in Volume 4, and I was like, how? I'm like, well, it's because Cal can take 3... frames of animation and talk at 7 minutes about it.
I don't know. Anyway, I'd like to hear people's thoughts on that.
No, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah. I don't know if it was necessarily intentional, because look at his face right after. He's like, huh, huh, huh. Like,
I think my interpretation of it is that he's more just recognizing that, and he's like, oh. I don't know if he's flashbacking to his traumatic childhood. I don't know if it's that.
I don't know. I mean, he's probably seen a lot of people shake like that, like at the Sneed.
Oh, probably, right? Because he's probably seen him shake right before he jammed the giant sword in their torso.
Like when he was branded, like he's probably seen a lot of people scared like that, but he's using it as a weapon, you know. Anyway. That's okay, though. So they fight some more, which is...
It was a very good fight. I liked it. Mm-hmm. Very punchy.
Something happens here. What did they say? Okay, do you think that you're... I don't think that's it. I think... Let me look. Yeah, what are they saying right here? Are they talking?
Climbing Blake. What does she even see it near?
No, that's not now. There's something else going on here. I'm not really sure. Huh.
I didn't write the note down for that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're saying right here. Maybe this was the line from before of, do you think that you're... No, I don't think that's it either. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying right now, unless they're just looking at each other. But yeah, it's not, because I'll show you when the other thing happens. So this is when he says... Do you what does she even see in you?
Yeah.
So I'm like over here. I'm trying to remember what's going on.
Wait, it's like, are you faster than you were in Beacon?
Well, I think, but that's when her arm was shaking, and that was the other frame, right? Because that was over here, right?
I think but
so
then afterwards, Yang is just like, I may not be faster than I was.
No, but that's after she takes the sword. So I'm like, what are they saying in between here? Should we go back and check?
I don't know, you want to pause the video?
Maybe.
Pause the record.
I mean, it's okay.
Watch it be them just panting.
Maybe they're just panting at each other. I feel like they're just, like, talking about Blake. Like, they're just sort of, you know, conversing. I don't think it was that important if you didn't write it down.
And Blake's climbing in the
Because
background.
it looks like he may be talking there, but at the same time, he's just angry. Like, I don't know why. But yeah, I don't remember.
Imagine trying to climb in high heels. Goodness gracious.
But yeah, Blake is just trying to climb up there. But yeah, I don't think Yang is saying anything there. I think she just sees Blake is working on it. You know what I mean? But that's when they continue fighting here.
And that's
when he says, what does she even see in you? Which again
that's very
romantic. Like when people use that in other books or other shows, that's a romantic thing. Like, you know, I'm not like Hunter doesn't have any friends, so this is a bad example. But
that's not true. I certainly have more than you do.
I don't like go up to people that will like work with Hunter and I'm like, what does Hunter even see in you to have you as a friend? Like nobody says that. You know what I mean? Like nobody says stuff like that, right? That's not a thing that people do.
I mean,
that's not a thing that people
sometimes,
say.
Yeah. But sometimes I don't say it in that quite way, but upon occasion I'm like, really? Them? Like I've been like that with other people.
Mm-hmm. But that's always like sort of a that's always sort of a romantic thing. At least I think so. You know what I mean? Even if you were saying, like, yikes, Cal, what do you see in that guy? Like, even if you're not, like, doing it crazy like Adam, that's just a casual thing that people say to each other when it comes to, like...
Well, I mean, it was about
what do you even
romantic...
see in them?
yeah, it could be about a romantic person, but...
Yeah, I just don't see, like, I just don't see how it could be about anything else.
But yeah, no,
or at least I've never seen anybody use it that way.
his interpretation of Blake and Yang's relationship, I think he sees it as a romantic relationship.
Because... not that these lines are also, like, not that they're cut off, but you have to think of how it would end the sentence, right? Because what does she even see in you as a romantic partner, right? And so if this were, like, if people are trying to argue that it's not romantic, what does she even see in you as a fighting partner? Like, you know what I mean? What does she even see in you as a mentor, like, you know, just all these other words.
We're the same age.
But you know what I mean? Like, when you have pieces of dialogue that sort of have implications, like, you have to sort of finish that sentence in your own head, right? And so other endings to the sentence don't make sense. What does she see in you as a friend? I was her bestest friend! Like, no, like, that's not how Adam is, right? I think I just like
what if he's not actually romantic, he just really wants to be
Blake's friend. But you know what I mean? And it's sort of like, what was the other line that he had said before that we were arguing about earlier? That he said,
It was the fucking, I can't even remember. We talked about it.
Am I not good enough for you? Am I not good enough for you as a fighting partner? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like, that's how that sentence would end. And so I would challenge people that are like, Cal, that's not romantic. Like, if you were actually gonna use this in a sentence, the sort of implication of forgotten words, you have to add the ending.
If you were to add, like, a noun afterwards.
Exactly, you have to add a noun.
Yeah, then you would see how awkward it was.
Because if Hunter was saying this to me, he would see, like, Cal, what do you see in him as a boyfriend? Like, Hunter wouldn't just say, like, cut it off there, like, if we were talking in regular conversation. And you've said that to me before, so it's okay.
Because you have questionable taste in men.
Because I have questionable taste in men. But, like, that's how Hunter would end that sentence, so you have to use a noun, you know? Like, and so, like, I don't know what noun can be used other than, like, what do you see in her as, like, a romantic partner? Obviously, Adam wouldn't say that. That's a bit long-winded for my taste, right? If Blake was a guy, or if Yang was a guy, rather,
Surprise!
Adam would say, if Yang was a guy, Adam may say something like, what does she see in you as a boyfriend? Like, something, like, edgy like that. But I think the line that we have is enough where it's like, yeah, that's kind of romantic. That's just me. But we can keep going.
You're so desperate for Bumblebee, you're willing to sit here and over-explain things.
It's not even that, but it's just like, people are gonna say things, and I want them to know that in the video I already covered it, and so your useless comment doesn't matter to me. Watch the entire video before you decide to say things.
The video is quite long. I can appreciate that these people may have other things they need to do in the day. I understand that,
but I feel like that
unlike us, who have very little to do.
I feel like as soon as I post something, somebody will come up with a rebuttal, even though they haven't already heard what I've said. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, I uploaded this video 5 minutes ago. You did not, like, watch all 35 minutes and, like, or at least jump to the part where I said this, right? And so people are going to sort of come into this and be like, well, Bumblebee's not canon, without actually listening to anything that we said. So I just want to cover my bases so I can be like, listen to our video at 15:05 or however long this video is now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Arnold's episode live streams are like 3 hours long, alright? We'll never be that long, but at least we're actually getting through. But yeah, so he has a go at her and, like, throws his sword, I guess. This is a cool shot. I like this shot. But you kind of see Yang's aura. So he says that, he's like, what does she even see in you? And he kind of, like, loses control in that moment. His arms are, like, shaking when he does that. It's like, what does he even see in you?
Part of the reason why Adam has lost is that, like, Yang is stalwart. Like, part of what I like about him is that he is abusive and that his power over people relies on his technical ability to fight, sure, but also in his ability to frighten people.
And he can't do that anymore.
And if he can no longer frighten Yang, you see that he's become weaker, which is why I actually don't mind the season 5
well,
Adam
that's what
fight,
I tried to explain
because
to people
it was like,
when
oh,
it happened,
they're not
right?
afraid of Adam anymore, and that's what his power
that
was.
That answer apparently
abusive.
Wasn't good enough for
people. Didn't like that, but this fight, at least I feel like...
I can see why people didn't like it, but...
Because they wanted a fight.
But I was trying to explain explain that is what they were going for. You can argue that they didn't do that well, but that was the idea.
They didn't do the fight aspect of it well, but in this time they did both well, I believe, and so that's more like...
I mean, even before, like, people that were complaining about a fight didn't get the entire idea was to not have one. Like, the entire point was, oh, if we follow him, he's just trying to pick us off. But when Adam is overwhelmed and he doesn't have power over people anymore, he gets upset because he loses that control.
Yes.
Like, and I feel like people are in two camps. They're like, yeah, I understand that, but I just wasn't conveyed as well as it could have. And, like, I feel you, I agree with you. But then there are people that are like, well, that's stupid, I wanted a fight. Like, no.
Now they get
it gives depth to Adam's character, and it gives that development. And now you get both. So I don't see why anybody should be complaining right now. You know? That's just me. So, yeah, I like these moves. And
she's knocked to the ground.
Yeah, Yang's just knocked... so Blake finally decides to climb off the mountain, or
no,
whatever.
she's still climbing, and then
she's working on it.
She's working her way up.
He's charging his.
Oh,
I like
wow!
That.
What is that?
Anyways, so she is able to take that head on, I think, and so he's ready because he thinks that she's been taken aback by that. He's ready to literally slice her like this. Like, imagine, like, how is this going to work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. I mean. He's gone through Yang's bone before.
But like her head, like that's how I would, like, he doesn't have an axe, you know what I mean? He's just not chopping her straight in half. Like, I don't see how that would
this
work.
is an anime?
I'm just saying.
Where sometimes
I don't know why he's just doing like this.
Sword swings aren't necessarily one-to-one with the real world.
Anyway,
this person does have a robot arm.
And then he's surprised because she grabbed it.
Almost afraid.
And he's also, this is the first time I think we've seen Yang's semblance.
Look that nice.
Not in the engine, because we saw it in the Volume 5 trailer, but look that nice. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, this is
And then
we like that.
She just like grinds him into the dirt, which was amazing.
What did she say here? That I really just like this line. She says, gotcha. Like, she says, like,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. She's just like,
I don't remember.
Got ya, bitch! Like, she says something.
I don't remember the gotcha line.
She says something like that. I just loved it so much.
The hair looks, the effect looks wonderful. I like how, like, ambers are coming, like, falling, dripping from her hair.
Like, it's a checkmate moment. That's not what she says, but she's like, got you. Like, she says something like that.
Really?
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
I swear to God she does, because then after, when she yeets his sword
wait,
whatever.
Go back. I love that face she makes when she's like, he looks terrified too, but yeah she has this wild face and he's ground into the dirt, which is hilarious. And you can see like his sword's gone.
So this is when she says, I may not be faster, but I'm smarter.
Yes.
Right? And so in this scene, all the way back here, that's not what she said. So she's like, got you! Like, she just says, got you. Like, she says something
You think
like
she has hair like, gah?
No.
Or
I swear, it's like actual verbal, like, thing. I mean, I wish I had wrote down the line, but like I said, Hunter did my notes so I could take the pictures, so.
But yeah, he's ground into the dirt.
Like, he just
He doesn't have his
And see how instinctual him grabbing for his sword is to protect himself?
Which I'm like, don't you still have a shotgun? But anyways.
But yeah, her aura just breaks after she does that because, I mean, she
probably took a bad hit.
I mean, yeah.
She's near the end there.
But she just,
off.
And that's what we said would happen. Sword. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So good job, us, Hunter, for getting that right. Nice. And so Adam's just like, no.
And then he looks surprised because whap.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of this shot.
I love. Wait, go back. Wait, one there. That. I love that power. There's a lot of good Blake power poses.
Yeah.
And they're charging. They're all running for the sword.
And so they're afraid that Adam's gonna get that because he can still use his semblance.
I'm also like, he has a shotgun, which is funny because he has a shotgun, but he's not thinking straight.
Maybe not.
He's afraid.
I mean, the shotgun also doesn't absorb the attacks. That happens through the sword. So it's like his gun is kind of useless. I guess their aura's broken.
I don't know what the range on a sawed-off shotgun is. I don't think it's very... But then again, Yang's a bit away, and I don't think the range on like a
Both of their auras broken, so he could have just shot them. But
I think it's because he was freaked out.
That, and he relies on his sword so much, he didn't even think about it. He's not even thinking, right? He's just, he saw a weapon that he thought that he needed and went for it, right?
And then...
Meanwhile, I don't know what Yang is grabbing over here, but I guess it's another piece of gamble.
Yeah,
or shroud
another,
or
like a shard of gamble.
Yeah.
And she stabs a motherfucker and just... Shink!
Yeah, so
and
I didn't expect this to happen. And you see the streaks
of blood?
Yeah.
Which, like, when Adam was just like, man, when I said I wanted Yang and Blake to double team me, this is not what I had in mind.
And so Yang gets him from
the... and it's bleeding. Oh, Jesus.
You see the oozing, too, which is why I wanted to get these frames.
Yeah, it's rough.
But
and
they just get him.
And it's like the streaks of blood.
And he's looking down because he's like, he doesn't believe that he lost, I don't think.
And when he gets stabbed, he says, oh.
I like how they both took it out, though. And I'm kind of like, why? Like, why take it? Like, just leave it there.
But taking it out actually does more damage.
Makes him bleed more, I guess. I'm just like, in terms of like, does she want to keep Gamble? Like, does she want to fix it?
Maybe, I don't know.
No, we can't leave it in Adam. We gotta pull it out.
After you, like, wipe the blood off, I suppose.
So we also had the theory that Adam would kill himself by diving off the cliff, which did end up happening.
Kind of, but did he dive? Did he faint off?
I mean...
Because
he looks like he's falling intentionally.
Because he's losing.
But why would? Okay, so if I was Adam and I wanted to be alive and get arrested by Cordovan, because that's the only outcome that makes sense for me to be alive. Because they're not gonna let me live unless I say I yield. Just take me, arrest me, officer. You know what I mean? And so if I were Adam, I would have just fell on the floor, all right, and let them. Bring me to Cordovan or whatever.
You do realize that you're not able to instill perfect logic.
I know that, I know.
When you're stabbed twice in the stomach.
If I was Adam...
You're not able to have proper logic
if I was Adam,
when, your dress rips or some shit.
Hunter, I'm just saying, if you got stabbed,
yes.
Why would you wander over to the cliff?
I wouldn't be thinking about where my feet are taking me. I'd probably be thinking, wow, there's a sword lodged in my spine.
I'm just saying that, I think that his walking over here is intentional because he is look at him. He is going over this way for whatever reason. He's actually taking the steps.
It's a dramatic cliche that after the villain gets stabbed, they walk around for a while.
I know, but I'm saying
because they have to think about their crimes.
I'm saying maybe he's walking with intention, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think that he's just kind of stabbed and he's moving around.
Die right here, and so when he goes to the cliff, he's trying to, because look at how far away he is from it then.
You have a knack for picking the least interesting
parts.
Why?
It's interesting if Adam intentionally decided to kill himself and drive himself off the cliff compared to
Motherfucker, he was stabbed twice! He's already dead!
But I'm saying that, I think it's two things, okay? Because look at all this, he could have just landed over here. But I think it's two things. One, I don't think that Miles and Carrie are doing a fake out. I don't think. I think that he's dead.
I think he's dead.
And so I think throwing him off the waterfall it was supposed to be no guys, literally he's dead. If he didn't die from the stab wounds, he died when he got fucking hit by that rock in his back and drowned.
Feel that Cinder survived a similar fall, but then again Cinder wasn't quite stabbed and twice in the spine.
Cinder has magic, so Adam's he's just not looking too hot. But I think it would be anyway, whatever you think is I don't care.
That's fine. We can have different interpretations of a piece of art.
It would be interesting if Adam intentionally killed himself. And so I'm not saying it for you because I know you don't think so, but I'm asking them do you guys think that that's what's happening here? Because I think that's sort of interesting because you see how far away he is and he does have some looks of realization he lost and it looks like he intentionally just
I feel like that was more like a because it's not his thigh. It looks like more the weight of his body just kind of naturally.
But he wasn't that close before, so it looks like he's gotten closer, so he can just dive off.
Also true. I also feel like that's the look of a man who just got stabbed in the lungs.
Here's the other thing.
And his
if I was
lack of
Adam,
oxygen to
I
the
wouldn't
brain.
want to die looking at Yang and Blake because they're gonna say some sort of
snarky
line to me. Okay, so I would kill myself off the waterfall. Is what I'm trying to say.
I just feel like if that was the case, they could be more dramatic about it.
I thought it was pretty dramatic. Obviously, here,
I just feel like they do the thing where I love where he falls and he hits and then he ricochets and he drowns.
And
Which
so
is
you
just
also
like
see his gun thing come off his belt and go on the other
he
side.
just kind of dies like a sad little death,
Mm-hmm.
where he drowns.
Yeah, I'm pretty
it.
sure he's dead. Unless, what if the after credits is just him and he's
Just
like
an
on
hand?
top of Bumblebee though? Because Bumblebee also went yeet into the water. Like, what if he's just
What if
like
it's
this?
just like Cinder dragging his body out of? Oh my god, I don't know if I would like that. I kind of like if he comes back. If I was, I just.
You know what we need? We need Adam floating in the water, and
Yes.
people have hope because for a minute they're like, "Oh, he's not dead. He's in the water." But then a giant Grimm comes up from the bottom and just eats him.
So he's
like,
good and dead.
good and dead, yeah. So we'll do a separate video on whether he's dead or not because a lot of people have conflicting opinions.
What if
just
like the same griffin that ate Roman ate him is like,
oh my god.
oh, never mind, and then Cinder just walks somewhere else.
So Blake realizes what's happening, and she sort of has this.
She just breaks down crying.
And I understand that because like this is somebody that she loved at some point. I mean, even though they're a shitty person.
She also just killed someone.
Okay.
Which is a deeply emotionally troublesome
But Yang
thing to go
doesn't seem
through.
that troubled. Like Yang is like, I kill people all the time. You know those bandits in the camp, like, you know.
Yang has less. You're
I
right.
feel like
It's a
an
mixture of
emotional
you
connection.
killed someone, even if you became an awful person. Which sometimes I'm like, yes, you're halfway there. I would probably feel bad if I had to stab you in the stomach.
I'm just saying, right? I don't think it's.
And also,
it's
Yang,
obviously like, yeah, I killed him.
Also,
bitch,
with Blake,
right?
she stabbed him and looked him in the eye. She
guess,
was the front. All Yang had to do was get him in the back.
But I think I would make the argument that Yang and to some extent Weiss and RWBY, like I don't want to say they're fine with killing people. I feel like RWBY's not. Like I feel like if RWBY had to kill someone, she totally. But I feel like Yang and like Weiss are just hard as fuck. Like they don't care. At this
Has
point.
Weiss ever killed someone?
I don't think so, but I think the bandit camp situation was like, yeah, she could have murdered those people with her knife if she wanted to. That had murderous intent. You know what I mean? You're not just knocking people out with your giant soldier thing. But whatever.
But this guy's good and dead.
All I'm saying is
Blake's having a moment.
I think that Yang is less
she feels
affected.
She has less
yeah, and that's because she killed someone
memories,
because if you look at Yang, right, she has this look on her face, but I feel like I don't know. Maybe that'll be a point of contention
I feel like
later.
she's also
that
crying
Blake
later.
Sort of feels very distressed when she does it, but Yang doesn't because Yang has no sympathy, whereas Blake obviously does. Like that would sort of be interesting, like how much remorse each character has and all that stuff. But yeah, Blake is obviously very upset. But see, I feel like Yang doesn't even care. Like, she's not even upset about Adam.
I feel
she's
like
upset about Blake because
yeah.
Blake is crying. Look at this. She's like, oh, it's okay. And I was just like, no, Hunter, no, I don't want Blake to cry. Like, during our reaction.
I think you were more somewhat celebrating that they were embracing.
I mean, yeah,
what
did
did...
too.
Adam dead and O is...
Okay, so Blake says, like, I'm not going to break my promise, and Yang's just like, I know, it's okay.
I'm not gonna break my promise, I know you won't. And then they kind of
do the little... This is another thing, okay? This, like, head thing is pretty romantic. Yeah, I'm like, just gals being like, no.
The hug, but then, like,
the hug,
head
sure,
thing.
but, like, I've never seen friends do the head thing. Just like I've never seen anybody be like, what did she see in you if it wasn't, like, a romantic... You know what I'm saying?
Maybe I feel like there's
and maybe
something
you guys have seen things that I haven't seen.
Dramatic
right?
brotherly, like, hand on the back of the head, press their foreheads to, like, we'll do this, brother. But I think this is a different
not
moment.
we'll do this, brother.
But I'm saying, like, out of context, if they weren't, like, these characters and were, like, stick figures doing that, it could, like, well, it could be a lot of things.
I mean, if they were, like,
but
you know, brothers of arms, it's just, like, you know, like,
how?
You know how guys, like, somehow, like, what do you want to say? Headbutt each other? They're like, yeah, brother.
What
like,
do you know about male relationships? You know, just dudes being dudes. I headbutt my bros all the time. Hey, bro, let's headbutt.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? No, but here's the thing about this, is that this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, like, already play devil's advocate for arguments like, oh, this is just a friendly,
but
like,
in context,
you know, like, buddy, like, or whatever. But, like, look at her. She's also, after she puts her hand on her cheek. Right?
Why do you always have to, like, do it to me?
I don't know.
Why do you have to, like, let's slap Hunter on the back and then grab Hunter's head and then, like, pat Hunter's cheek? You can use a different person. You can use, like, an abstract idea.
But you understand what I mean? Like, that's...
Yes.
Look at, like, the face, like... Oh, yeah, yeah, just bros being bros. I'm just gonna put your hand on my cheek like this. Like, no, honey, no. And at this point, I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say the people that are like, oh, they're just friends, Cal, are stupid. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, no, come on. Like, at this point, it's about being honest with ourselves. And so if you're trying this vehemently to still say that they're friends, like, I don't know. I don't know about you. You're just in denial or, like, low-key homophobic or ignorant or a bunch of other things, I would say. That's just my personal opinion. You guys don't have to agree, but that's whatever. I mean, I'm not saying everybody that doesn't ship them is homophobic, by the way.
That's a jump.
But there are,
That's a significant jump.
I mean,
you should probably qualify that statement that
what do you
mean? Just because you don't think that this is...
well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
I'm
like
saying that
a hard confirmation.
I don't think that... That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make
like,
you homophobic.
A lot of people are like, oh, well, people are just saying that because, like, oh, they think if I don't ship them, they're homophobic. I don't think that's it.
Depending on how people interact with their friends, like, maybe this is normal for some person.
Yeah, this is normal for some person.
Hypothetically.
But what I'm saying is, a lot of people are like...
Just because we're cold and distant doesn't mean everyone has to be... Certainly there are homophobic people.
What did you think that I just said?
Because you said...
I said, I'm not saying that if you
first you said,
ship it, you're homophobic. That's what I said. I said, I'm not saying that if you don't ship them, you're a homophobic
first you
person.
said, I don't know if you're homophobic, and then you said, just because you don't ship it doesn't mean you're homophobic.
Yeah.
And then, so you're qualifying the
I'm
statement.
saying, like...
Yes.
A lot of people are like, well, if people think that I don't ship Bumblebee, they jump and they say that I'm homophobic. I don't think that's it. But I think that a homophobic person wouldn't like any gay ship. And so there's also that too. Yes. And so that's kind of what I'm saying, is that there's the homophobes in one group, but then there's also people that are just sort of like gals being pals, that just view it differently.
View it differently, like just because people have different life experiences.
Well, that's
people
what I'm saying.
More comfortable with
I think
emotion,
that
not be hard and cold and dead like
there
us.
Is, like,
but you're absolutely right.
There is a correct way to view things sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, we can argue about death of the author and all that stuff, but I think that there's how you interpret it, but it's also their intention. And if the artist's intention and sort of how everybody sees it isn't how you see it, then you may have to sort of figure out why, if that makes sense. And that would be based on your personal experience.
Which, because if you can be like hetero, you could have like a heteronormic and not be homophobic. It's just that you live your life assuming like, oh, you know, they're girls, so they're friends.
Yeah.
Like, that could just be like an unconscious kind of bias.
Yeah. And so
you could have no issue with gay people, you'd still be like that.
I can't think of a good example at the moment, but I'm like, I don't know. I guess, what can I say? For example, right, like the cheek kissing thing. So in Miraculous Ladybug, there's a scene where Chloe and Marinette have to cheek kiss, right? And that's a French culture thing. And the majority of us will know that, right? We'll know it's a French culture thing and sort of not really see it as anything else. But if you know nothing about French culture, you may be in the minority where you're like, oh, that kind of looked more romantic, right? Yes. Or that's kind of weird, you may say, right? And so that's kind of what I'm saying, is that the writer's intent was it to be a reference to French culture of kissing each other on a cheek when you welcome each other at a party. And the majority of the audience understands that, but if you're in the minority that doesn't, there may be like a reason for that you view it a different way. And so I think that this is sort of the case. It's sort of like the majority of us will see these things as romantic because we have a certain connotation of how, you know, we're taught to see romance in our society, like through movies and through TV and stuff. And then some people will just be like, oh, well, that doesn't look like that to me because I've done this. And so it's sort of like, it's a couple things. It's going to be different for everyone. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, I hate that people jump to, well, if you don't ship Bumblebee, you're a homophobe. And I'm just like, don't do that. First of all, don't say that. There certainly are people that are like that, but it's just about sort of life experience. And I feel like, especially if you're a young kid watching the show, maybe you haven't necessarily been exposed to the same things. So it's sort of like, now that you're watching the show, and maybe if they confirm it, you understand Miles and Carrie's intent, moving forward, when you watch other things, you'll sort of have that at the back of your head. It's sort of like your own brain database. And how much that's updated, so yeah. I guess we can keep... Yeah, so she just goes in for like, oh yeah, so there's
I legit thought they were gonna like kiss in this moment, but it is very like romantic.
I mean, there's still some time, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not joining up with the group right away, I don't think, so like we'll see something. So meanwhile, Cordovan's just freaking the fuck out, and so she's yelling at people to sort of back her up, and then the Argus base is like, hey, we've been trying to talk to you for a second, a couple minutes, and it's like, so, about that.
By the way...
Grimm are attacking the city, and you see this look of fear in Cordovan, which
She's
I
like,
feel like
I
is
fucked
like...
up.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, what? Because that was her one job.
Yeah.
And she prided, like, we are the protectors of Argus. We protect these people. That's why Atlas needs to be here. And then they drop the ball. Right, and so I feel like she's actually genuinely worried for not only her status, right, but also the people, because that was the one thing.
You get a look of like, oh, my ego got the head of me.
Yeah, exactly, and so I feel like she's realized something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these sort of soldiers, and you see what is happening?
That's just like a dude with armor on.
I guess, yeah.
Because those are like more like the ones that were in the Fall of Beacon and that we were more used to seeing earlier.
So.
I really like that design. I've come full circle.
This is the Grimm.
Oh, look at that little boy.
At first I'm like, what the fuck
Look at that
this?
little creepy boy. He's just a creeping boy.
How many things did we talk about last week, okay? We talked about octopus. We've talked about sharks. We talked about an evil
Cthulhus.
sunfish. Okay?
Krakens.
We talked about krakens. We talked about that thing in Clash of the Titans that everybody was very sad that I insulted their favorite movie, apparently. And I'm like, listen, I watched this in Greek myths class. Like, it wasn't that great when I saw it. So maybe it was just the context in which we were watching it. And then we get whatever this is.
I love him!
Well,
Look at that!
what is it?
He looks kind of like
He kind of looks like a shark or a dolphin.
No, he looks like a sword,
like
barracuda. He's kind of have that long teeth barracuda mouth, and I like how he's sort of slumped over, and I like how he's like almost like a fishy Godzilla.
Meanwhile, all
I
these
really
Grimm
like
are coming
him.
too. So it seems like these Grimm are being attracted by the big
Negativity,
one. The call
or-
of the
yeah.
big one and the negativity that is
I
happening.
really like this Grimm.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
With all our predictions, with everything we said, do you think that we got it right?
No.
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 But
We didn't say like a big fish Godzilla. That's a big fish
okay,
Godzilla.
but what about the shark part that we said?
I think
I mean,
that's
how
more
would there
like
be a giant
that's
shark
more like
if it
a
wasn't-
barracuda-ish.
or a dolphin? I'm just like, did we say any? Because,
Barracuda.
okay, sorry, but look at the tail. Like the tail looks sharp.
I love that shot.
And then this thing looks like dolphin. So like, is he an evil dolphin? Like, is that what he's supposed to be?
Maybe.
And so I'm like,
I love that shot.
this is up to you guys. Do you guys think that we got something right or not? Because I don't even know. Like, that's how confused I am about what this is. Somebody pulled up the RuneScape wiki and said it was a what again?
A Dormanarmanoff.
Or something.
It kind of has a similar sort of shape. It is RuneScape, so you know, not a lot of textures and polygons on there. So it has like the general rough outline of it. But I just love him. I just love the little slinky boy.
Dortha, no, I'm trying to look. I'm trying to look him up. I can't find it. I had it in my tabs too. But yeah, it's some sort of RuneScape monster that someone took a picture, or took a wiki. Took a wiki. Sorry, posted a link about. Yeah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm gonna try and find it real quick because we still have time. It's a Dagannoth.
Yes.
So I'm gonna show you guys a picture.
Not on the screen, of course. Just flashing our phone.
Yeah. So it looks like this.
That's the general. But it's RuneScape.
They're sea monsters. Many. Yeah. Okay. So hunt them.
But this one's called the Goliath.
But how do you know?
Well, I guess because all of the really big Grimms are called the Goliath. No, Leviathan. Sorry, Leviathan. This one's called the Leviathan because someone yelled it's a Leviathan.
Did they?
I wrote down it in the notes.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
So apparently this is only a RuneScape monster because
Leviathan.
The internet doesn't say anything. But is this what a Leviathan looks like?
A Leviathan? I think
like, or is a Leviathan just based off of a?
I feel like I don't know what I think of when I think of Leviathan.
Okay, so
Google
looking
Leviathan?
at the internet, it just seems okay. So this
big
Leviathan
creature.
seems like pretty human-like. This one on Google, but no, like a lot of the Leviathans seem to be like really sea monsters.
A big sea monster.
At it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. What about this one? This one sort of looks like
similar.
a walking one, right? So yeah. So in the end, no.
I like him. So like I like him.
I don't think that I like him. I'm sorry.
I like he's just a slinky boy.
I know he's a boy. Like I know like he looks very.
Oh, look at him! I love how he has that long jaw. Like the dragon kind of had that they have really long like mouths.
I know. he looks very boy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many other cool sea Grimm that they could have done, and they went with this.
I like this one.
Not a giant octopus.
Here's the thing,
you know?
You didn't expect it. Everyone expected an octopus. Everyone expected like Cthulhu.
But we had so many good ideas, Hunter.
We also had platypus.
And then we got this, but like what? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him.
He was unpredicted. He has some like fishy Godzilla
Just because
vibes.
it's unpredictable. Here's what I'll say, okay? Just because something
unpredicted doesn't mean it's good.
Just because something is predictable doesn't mean it's bad. Just because we couldn't predict it doesn't mean that it's good.
But I like him.
I don't know. He just doesn't seem threatening to me.
He seems scary.
Not really.
I like.
You
he's
say
kind of
he
slinking.
looks like a boy. Like no.
He's slinking. But then again, boys can still be threatening. Like I find many dangerous things to be boys.
I don't know. I don't know. If this happened in my daily life, okay, maybe I would be scared because of its size. But if there was a little version of this, would I be scared?
But
no.
we also haven't seen it in action, so we have no idea what it looks like. What
Yeah.
if it like moves really fast? What if it's even
Anyway.
more frightening in a sense?
We're being attacked.
I'm honestly very excited to see how they have to do that, because I feel like they may have to like come to some terms with the robot over here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they fucked her up though.
Cardovan.
They fucked up her arm. Like even
Well,
if they
did.
can fix her arm, she has no more dust.
And in their defense, however, she was certainly trying to fuck them up.
Well, yeah, but a couple of people predicted this would happen. So again, like I said at the beginning of the video, good on you guys. I didn't think that we had enough time for it, so I was on the fence. I was like, yeah, I could see that happening if they have time, but do they have time?
Part of me predicted
they have
that.
time.
I thought that she was about to kill them, then the monster, like in a tentacle or something, would come out and slap her, and they'd be like, well, and then they would have to team up or something, and then
I thought
they'd
that
learn
would
the
have
area.
been nice.
I
I thought it would have been nice for it to be an octopus. Just in general. I'm just so sad. Kirby, if you can hear me alright, I love
I
this
really
stuff.
like it. She's just
the Little
lame.
Mermaid. I want an octopus Grimm so bad. Like that's
There can
what
be
I
time
need.
for an octopus.
I know, but when? When is the time, Hunter? When is its time? So I don't know how long this video's been. When our camera fell, it was 20 minutes in.
Oh, it's probably been
it's been
40.
a while.
It's been 50 minutes.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon. You guys should subscribe. Yeah, this was a little bit of a long one, but I just had thoughts that I wanted to get out.
You certainly had thoughts.
Here's the other thing, though, okay?
Here's more thoughts about my having thoughts, in case you thought I was done with my thoughts.
You don't have to read YouTube comments.
That's
I have
true.
to approve every single
You know
one.
what? You're right.
And so when I see stupid stuff during the week, I take a deep breath and I delete it, usually, okay? But
upon occasion, you don't.
Upon occasion, I
goodness,
don't, and I
not.
snap at people. But I just feel like for this video, to sort of try to prevent as much as I could any stupidity, I just have.
I am trying to set out so many fires before they even happen.
Exactly. It's prevention, not prevention, not solutions. That's not right.
Preemptive action.
Yes, it's about preventing, like. Exactly. But there's like a more snappier thing like that I've heard. It's about the prevention, not like what you do, like not fixing it after. Prevention is better than it's something like that.
Well, it's nice to know that you don't have that snappy comeback.
I don't remember it. Maybe I'll look it up after. But yeah, so that's it.
Next episode, we're gonna see them fight them. Maybe at the end, everything will be happy. We'll get some.
We're definitely getting some Bumblebee stuff next episode.
I feel like
this is enough of a confirmation, but not for most.
I feel like
people,
last episode was Bumblebee the bike. This one was Bumblebee the Temu. Next one will be Bumblebee the ship.
Anyway, we will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to support the channel, you guys should be patrons just like our wonderful patrons whose names will come on the screen now. $10 patrons get videos sometimes 2 weeks in advance, sometimes 3 weeks in advance, basically much earlier than anyone else. They can also request us to do a video for them, so this could be a reaction, a theory, a discussion, anything like that. Our $5 patrons get a week in advance early access or somewhere within that time frame, so between 2 days early and 7 days early basically, but usually it's 7 days early because I'm good with my scheduling. Anyway, our $1 patrons and all of our patrons above the $1 tier get access to our Discord server, so if you guys want to talk with us, talk with other fans of whatever you're watching right now, you guys can, and I hope that we will see you there. Bye.